Who was it that said it? Yeah,
I think it
Where?
was wet.
Yeah, Where? Who
Yeah,
was saying it? You're like the opposite of EST right now.
but yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
I do appreciate you taking the time to come on here and talk a little bit, despite your time
Yeah.
zone. So,
Yeah.
what have you been doing? Been busy with real life, or?
Well, I've just gotten out of a lockdown because we were in lockdown, and now I was back at school Friday. I took the day off, which is today for you guys. Um, I finally built my desk after 6 years of gaming
Nice.
on PC. Um, just need to get my monitor, and I'm fully set.
It's nice. So what do you mean by disc? Do you mean like an actual?
Desk, not a desk.
Oh,
A
desk.
desk.
Yeah, desk.
Yeah.
So did you order? Where did you get the desk from? Did you order it? Did you?
I got it from IKEA.
Ah, IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah, IKEA. It's interesting because the nearest IKEA to me is like 3 hours away. I've only been to it
Jeez.
once. I do like their Swedish meatballs though. So I do like that. But I mean, do you use the food court there a lot?
I didn't go. My dad went and picked it up
Ah,
after work. Brought it
okay.
home. I built it.
So have you ever been to
Uh,
IKEA yourself?
yeah, I have, but it was many years ago.
Ah, okay. So you don't go there often.
No.
I see. Well, it's definitely good for furniture. So, how big
Yeah.
is the desk then?
It can probably fit 3 monitors on it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's big enough.
It's ideal for gaming then.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, how long have you been wanting to get that new desk?
Years, man.
Wow. Well, it's nice that you finally got it.
Yeah.
So, what's
It's
your
great.
history in the genre? I know you've been here. I think you've said since like 2016. So,
Yeah.
can you give like
Early 2016.
a brief
Uh,
summary of what you've done?
well, in 2016, I would have been maybe 10 years old at the time.
Oh, wow.
I, as any other little kid would, saw an ad for car, Clone Army of the Republic, that was owned by Alpha. You know Alpha, right, Zoran?
Alpha Wolf.
Alpha Wolf.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know him. Yep.
I joined. I went to their Coruscant at the time. I joined the group, started playing there. That's probably the first Star Wars group I ever joined. Then later on the line, maybe mid 2016, I joined Sino's Hut Cartel because Captain Rancor, one of the car hierarchy, invited me to come and join, be his enforcer. So I joined. I've been there. I was there from 2016 to 2019. Um, was every rank in his group. Now I'm here. And then 2017, I would have joined Kratos. I think it was typical canines that invited me.
Mm.
He was the one that was there for me more or so at the time. Um, Thrax was very on and off, as we all know.
Yep.
Uh, and I mean, Natalik was always around because he
Mm.
was the second in command, the general.
So I know you're pretty successful now. You clearly are pretty knowledgeable about the Roblox market. Normally, when you do put a lot of effort into your projects, either as the HUD Cartel or Clone Army, they get really active and they prosper. So when did you ever
Yeah.
get the desire or the interest to start doing these major scale projects?
Well, my first project was a republic called RGM, Republic Grand Military.
Mm.
I started with one of my friends from Car, um, Athenios, one of the Athenions. Uh, you wouldn't know him. Anyways, we started that up. We had no money, of course, at the time because we had nothing. It was our first
Mm.
group. We just started off with nothing, reused tech. Um, grew, we grew to 600 members, and it was good. But then we all got busy, and the group died. And I've kind of quit for a bit, focused on school and whatnot. And then I bought the Hut Cartel with no Discord and 600 members, which were all dead, and I just started from there. I talked to Eternal Sovereign, who is now Eternal Kenway. He became my Jabba. Natalia came along in after maybe 2-3 weeks because he didn't expect it to do anything, to go anywhere. He became Bosk. And then the cartel just started growing and growing from there, really. It peaked probably maybe, I don't even know. Just started in April, maybe peaked it in September, I could say.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so when you do create these groups, do you like what's your thought process with it? Do you have like a set marketing plan? Do you have a set idea of where you want to take the group, or you just kind of play it by ear and just try to do the best you can with what you got? Like, what's kind of your strategy with that?
I mean, I just want to do something that's fun, people can play. It's not really about the money.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so what got you into this? Like, I know you like to do clone groups, you like to do Mandalorians, you like to do the Hut Cartel. Did you learn about these things before from actual Star Wars material? Did you learn about these things from Roblox? Like, where did your love for these types of genres come from?
My love for clones and like the Republic and that came from the prequels, because I do love the prequels. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie.
Nice.
Yeah. But my love for the underworld and criminals, that all came from joining Roblox and Xenos Cartel.
Hmm.
I just learned from it more and more. Every year I know more about the criminal underworld.
So, what appeals to you about the criminal underworld?
I don't know. It's just something that I like. I don't know.
Something that's different, maybe. Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just armies fighting. It's bribery. It's stealing.
A lot of intelligence is needed
Yeah.
to be able to get through it. A lot of thought process. Okay, that definitely makes sense. So what kind of prompts you to create these groups instead of joining them or becoming a second in command? Do you like the challenge of making something from nothing? Is that kind of what
Yeah.
drives you? So you just like the challenge
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can relate. I've done a lot of different projects in the past. I do enjoy the challenge myself. It definitely gives you something to do. It's a lot of problem solving, a lot of patience needed. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, like your HUD cartel, you're very patient with it. I think it's the largest HUD cartel in Roblox right now, I believe.
It's the largest cartel ever.
Yeah. And you know, every time you run ads for it, and every time you get it active, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that being said, what are your plans for the Hunt Cartel now? I know you're working on the Criminal Underworld, which we can talk about a little more soon. But just for
Yeah.
the Hunt Cartel, which seems to be your primary focus in general, out of all the
Yeah.
projects you've done, you seem to really like your Hunt Cartel. You seem to really care about it and do a lot of work for it. What are your overall plans with it now that you know it's successful? What's the next stage?
Well, first I'm just gonna get Nasha done for the criminal underworld, so we all can use, so we can all have a map to use.
Yep.
Um, or the cartel will probably use that a lot. And after that, I'm probably gonna look to get a Tatooine or a new Null Hunter made, which is more accurate compared to the ones we have, because they're a bit, just not as good, not up to scratch. That's my plans for the cartel, just to get it active. I see it as this. We have the summer now, right? It's just the setting up, I guess, and we want to get everything ready before the end of the summer. And the real activity is for the winter break. in my opinion. From what I see.
So it
You
looks
know what I mean?
like yeah. So basically, if I get this correctly, what you're saying is you want to use the activity in the summer to be able to, I guess, developers who are in school have more time during the summer to work on projects. So that makes sense, and get all of the hype, get all of the activity, and get the people who are more available on Roblox. And then when winter break comes, you'll have everything set up, and then it's just an easy launch
Pretty
from there.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
Aaron
both
had a
ways.
question.
But let's see. Aaron asked, "What was the first ever map that you had for the cartel?"
From what I remember, it was a fully brick part made terrain map that had so many invisible walls all over the place. It was half broken. It was just complete dog shit. It was the worst map I've ever seen. Yes, very different from the Tatooine we know now. That was made by Garnet, who was my Java at the time. And yeah, he's busy doing his own stuff now. He's just ranked group manager because he's my co-owner, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess what I think something that you've really shown, or I should say continued in nowadays in the genre. I talked about this a little bit with Kill in my last episode about how the Star Wars genre is very big on detail, very big on an immersive experience, which is true. I mean, which is fine. Like, I understand it completely, but at the same time, I also kind of, it is a fact as well that you don't need a detailed place to get a group started. You just need a place people will enjoy. A lot of people join these groups for the community, along with the immersive experience. I mean, if you want to be technical, the community is a part of an immersive experience. So, you can't really, you can have a map, but it's just a development showcase unless you have things to do on it. And I think that, when you make these groups, which is something that you've really continued the old idea, it's, you're from 2016, but even before 2016, that was the norm. People had low quality maps, they had activity on those maps, and people liked the trainings, they liked the events, they just basically liked interacting with people. And then they added detail from there. So
That's the plan now with Nashidar adding the really detailed map that no one's ever seen before. Because no one's ever seen a high quality Nashidar made in Roblox.
yeah. It's
So it'll be the
definitely
first of its kind. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it's interesting because, again, last episode with Kill, I actually mentioned someone made a very detailed Coruscant. It's actually the same guy, if I got it correct, right?
Oh,
The
yes.
same guy that made that Blender Coruscant, making that Nar Shaddaa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So, now moving on to the Underworld, since, we talked about the HUD Cartel a little bit about the Underworld. So what's the overall plan with the Underworld that you're planning on doing?
Overall plan is really just to make a fun community that we've never seen before, because we've never had a full Underworld community due to the likes of Dion always taking the Underworld groups and destroying them, or Cino not wanting to add new groups to the Underworld.
Right.
And before that, who even knows, to be honest, because it was just really Vaxis and his cartel at the time, that far back. So really it's just to make a fun community that no one's ever seen before, because everyone does their GCW or their CW, but you don't see a criminal underworld, so something new.
So, what about this criminal underworld kind of separates it from other criminal underworlds tried in the past? Like, I think Vax has tried his own criminal underworld before, but it didn't work out, and I think Sino did too. These other people did try to do criminal underworlds, not to this scale, but overall, what would you say is the difference between this one and the old ones?
The only problem with Sino is the hatred people have for him. So not a lot of people want to work with him, especially now, especially because of the things he's done and whatnot. But Vaxis, maybe because of his lacking funds, I guess. Because I know I was talking to him a few months ago when we were talking about the cartel and his cartel. He was telling me that he didn't have the funds that I have. but
Right.
he made through with it. He still had the activity even without the funds, which is something I'd like to do. I'd like to have activity without funds, without running ads every day.
Yeah. I think the main thing to do
Yeah,
that is just know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. I think
yeah,
that the success to a lot of these games, if they're maintained, it's not a one-time thing, but if they're maintained
yeah,
by either the owner or high ranks that can fill in for the owner when the owner is busy, the idea of word of mouth is really powerful. I'm going to give an
yeah. It
example of
is.
how Into the Galaxy started. I'm going to be running ads for that soon, but in general, that Star Wars roleplay game, before I came in,
Yeah,
people knew about it because of word of mouth. And you had over
yeah,
200 people in the Discord server just because
mm,
of a reputation and just people saying, "Hey, this is a pretty good game. You should check it out."
yeah,
And and it blew up. So again, I definitely think that it's definitely possible. Funds are important, but with the way Roblox is now, either way, you can get funds just by having a good game, or a game
yeah,
that people enjoy playing. I mean, I remember we had that temporary stand-in Coruscant map for Criminal Underworld. I remember going on a
yeah.
tangent about it, and I was just saying, this is just a room. You got 30
It is.
people filling up the map, and it's literally just a room. It's one room, and it's got all this activity. It's one empty room
Yeah,
too. There's not much to do in it. Sure, it's one empty room, but people still enjoy it because again, they're there for
yeah,
the people. They're there for the community, and I think
yep,
that that's should be the goal when you start up a group or any project.
yeah.
It should just get a
It's
select
one of the
few
main
people.
focus.
Yeah, exactly. Just get a select few people. Because I mean, for games in general that aren't community based, let's go to like first person shooters, stuff like that. You don't
Yeah,
really need as
that's
much of a
different.
community. That's different because it's self
Yeah,
running. It doesn't rely on the player
yeah,
base for it to be immersive. But for things that are more role play oriented, like the Star Wars genre and role play games, you definitely need the community there. That's why people go there. They don't. If they really just wanted to play Star Wars by themselves, they would go and play Jedi Fallen Order or play Star
yeah.
Wars: The Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic. The
Exactly.
the appeal, especially in a game like Roblox, to the genre, the Star Wars genre, and the subgenres within it, such as the Underworld community or the Underworld genre, whatever you want to call it, is
Yeah.
definitely the people there. So, you said that that's your goal, which is good. How did you come to learn this? Because you seem to be very
Oh.
knowledgeable about the market regarding developers and how to build a community. How did you learn all of these things? Because a lot of people, don't know this. Like they try to start up groups and then get mad because it doesn't work, and they don't take these steps that you do to create your active, successful group. So, what
Yeah.
did you learn that others haven't?
I mean, I've been in so many groups. You see them make all this mesh tech. They'll spend $600 on it,
Yeah.
but there's no community there. They're not bringing a community there. There's no anything. They're not doing game nights with their community. They're not doing
Hmm.
anything fun. They're not doing fun events. It's just do what I say. Be a stormtrooper. Border. It's it's just not good for a community. It's just
Yeah.
people do the wrong things and they don't see it and they won't change because they're stubborn.
Hmm.
And like, if I can remember Anakin, Mydrick or Cadden, whatever his name is, he had his Republic. He got this Naboo made, Naboo planes, and then he got all these mesh morphs. I'm pretty sure he sold his Republic maybe 2 months after because he couldn't get it up. Um, and give it people that were able to make good groups. As much as people were scared or didn't like him, Dion was perfect at that. He still has a following to this day. He
Yeah. Star Wars
is
genre
able,
Discord's pretty big.
yeah. Dion can come on and he can start a empire and get 40 on easy without a doubt, no
Right.
problem.
Yeah, but what I've seen about him, I can tell that too. So, would you say it's that you just have more of an open mind?
Yeah,
Your goal is the success and the flourishing and also the enjoyment of the community. So you're
Yeah,
able
that is.
to kind of adjust your tactics as needed. Do you think that's kind of what sets you apart from all these other people that attempt to do the similar things?
Yeah, I would say so. If you're not if you're looking out for your community and your members, you shouldn't be owning a group or running a group at all,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
As if
that
you,
makes sense.
yeah, without your members, you're nothing.
Hmm. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that makes complete sense. So I think it's definitely a good lesson for anyone wanting to build a group, etc. Because something that does, and I don't mean to talk bad about Cody Space, but he's
Oh
got
yeah.
his independent systems of Nexus, which it's a pretty unique idea. I mean, it's basically Space Texas. It's a pretty decent idea. He
Yeah.
has a very functional Discord server. He has his own press company. He has a very immersive community, but they're not doing anything because he's relying so much on development first. He's worried, I guess not worried,
Oh.
but he's concerned so much about getting everything set up first without having any activity
Mm,
that his group, there's nothing going on in game. It's just
yeah.
development for the past, I'd say, 7 years. And yeah, they're making a lot of progress and have good tech, but I don't often see server startups. And I don't often see a lot of people in game. Whereas, even though it's good to focus on development, something that you've done with your community is not only have you made a very immersive, fun Discord server, you've also ensured that there's events even before everything's done, and
Yeah,
kind of
like
help hype
Val's
people.
hosting parties and whatnot.
Exactly. It really,
Sword tournaments, whatever.
exactly. It really hypes people up for what's next and keeps people entertained in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think if you put your mind to something, the human potential is basically limitless for the most part. I think anyone who has an open mind and anyone who's up for learning can be able to achieve things. It's just you need to know what tools are necessary, have your priorities correctly, and just be willing to change as needed. And I think you can pretty much do almost anything you want, if you keep those keys in mind. So, you live in Australia.
Yes, I do.
I think you're probably the second Australian that I actually know that isn't on TV. So, what is your area of Australia like? Like, what's the weather there? What's the community there?
Well,
Culture.
currently, culture. Well, I hang out with a lot of Greeks because that's what I am actually. I'm Greek Australian.
Yep.
That's well to hang out with. I actually don't like many of the people in my school. They're all these tryhards, They're all trying to think they're cool, think they're the best, think they're gang members.
So do you think that's just common with Australians? Just
And
trying to
it
just
is.
try hard
It's
and
it's common. It's very common.
interesting.
With a lot of the guys, and then most of the girls. To be honest, I'm not even going to get into them.
Interesting. Aaron is pretty funny. So just like American high schoolers, he says.
Well, no, they don't. No, they don't have guns.
Oh my god. So you said you're a Greek Australian.
Yes.
So what part of you is Greek? Is that like on your father's side, your mother's side? Did you grow up in
No,
Greece? Like,
it's
what's the
it,
story there with genetics?
Well, my grandparents from both my parents' side both came from Greece.
Oh, okay.
My parents were born here to Greek parents, and I am born to Greek parents. So we are Greek, but we were born here, other than my grandparents.
Right. So do you know any of the Greek language or anything like that? Or the food? Do you enjoy the food? The cuisine?
Oh yes, I love this.
So you like
Yes, the cuisine is amazing.
the olives, the
Yes.
feta cheese, and all of those type
The
things?
Yeah, feta is amazing.
Nice.
Best thing. I have it in everything. I have it with my chips, my fries, as you guys call them. Um,
I see.
have them. Yeah, it's good being Greek. Got to get a lot of food.
Yeah, it's definitely
Get
good
a lot
food.
of,
I've
yeah,
always enjoyed
a lot of
Greek
mo-
food.
a lot of money for birthdays as well. Not bad, not bad. uh, yeah, I mean, it's great, to be honest.
So have you ever been to Greece?
I sadly have not. I've always wanted to. The place where I'm from has very nice beaches, which is Lefkada, which is an island that's close to Italy, but it's closer to Greece, of course. It's connected to Greece, but it's on the side of Italy. You know what I'm talking about?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you planning on going to Greece someday?
Yes, I do. Probably when well, the best time would be 21 on my 21st birthday, because that's when I can drink over there. But here,
Nice.
but I can drink at 18 here.
There seems to be most places of the world that you can do that. So, I noticed that the terminology in Australia, like you call what we call fries out here chips, just like in England.
Yeah.
It was interesting talking to Kill because he kind of went over Yorkshire history and Yorkshire culture and how they view things. What do you think are the similarities and differences between Australia and, let's say, the UK?
The similarities, I mean, our schooling is pretty much the same. We've both got the Queen, of course. Our governments, both prime ministers and our presidents.
Right.
I mean, we have a governor general, which I don't know if you guys have that, but it's the Queen. What's it called? The Queen makes someone the governor general, and they are basically above the prime minister, but they're also not at the same time.
So, does the Queen have more power in Australia than England?
Yeah. I mean, no, but she has a word, like she has her words, like she can say something and we'll take it into mind. She can't just say you have to change this law right here and right now. It has to go through the courts and whatnot.
Interesting.
I mean, the language is pretty much the same, other than the accent, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no British. It's more. I can't really speak the bogan Australian. Yeah, yelling, and then they put in the morning at well, currently it's 9 now, so I don't want to be yelling.
Yeah.
People are still asleep.
Interesting.
Yeah. We're very
Interesting.
loud.
It's just interesting
Yeah.
how you have the different English-speaking places and the So, what about dialect? Like, are there certain words that Australians use that British individuals don't, or? Like,
I mean, we have our most famous word, g'day.
yes. I see.
Also, I'm curious, where have Americans got the saying, put some shrimp on the barbie?
Americans have that saying?
Yeah, they say that about us. Say that we put shrimp on the barbie when we don't even...
I don't even know what that is.
No.
I've never heard of that personally. Well, wait, can you type it? I'm going to actually look up the term. Could you type it in the chat?
Shrimp and barbie.
Alright, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I mean shrimp on the barbecue, I guess. But we don't call them shrimp, they're prawns. Yeah.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Came from a 1980
shrimp
show.
on a barbecue kind of thing.
Yeah, and apparently that's something we say a lot when I've never heard anyone say it.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
It says that you guys eat prawns.
Oh, yeah,
As
we
a
do
Christmas
a lot.
food. Huh. Interesting.
It's fine.
So, I remember you telling me, is it winter where you are right now?
It's currently winter, yes, but currently it's not too bad outside. It looks maybe, let me check the temperature. It's currently 12 degrees. Ooh, I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but cold.
So,
But it's cold but sunny.
interesting. So, is like the seasons in Australia basically the reverse of what they are in America?
Yes, and
So when it's spring
Yeah.
here, it's fall there, or when it's
Yep.
winter here, or it's summer there, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly.
It's very interesting. So Australia is basically the polar opposite of the
Literally.
U.S.
Pretty much.
Interesting. Ah. Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting to hear. So, Aaron asked a question about Kratos that I want to bring up. So,
Oh
when did
yes.
you first join Kratos? I mean, that's kind of your in your name, Vex Craytos. So
Yeah.
you seem to identify a lot with the clan, and what I know you gave kind of a basic idea of what your story was there. But
Yeah. I
could you
mean,
give us a little more insight or details about what exactly happened with you joining Kratos?
well, it would have been between 2016 and 2017. I actually have no idea how I got to join. I can't remember at all. I don't remember.
Oof.
I remember, yeah, the first memory I have at Kratos is in game with Metallic Thrax and typical canines, and yeah, that's the first memory I have of Kratos. Really,
Interesting.
being on this really it's just this really shitty made game, which was got it's like a part fog, which is just changing the transparency of the blocks, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know you have some development skills. I know you
Oh,
can do
yes.
terrain. Is there anything
Yeah.
else, any other skills you're able to do with development?
I mean, I can try rewrite scripts, like depending how hard they are, but that's about it. Um, yeah, I can barely build to save my life.
Oof.
But,
I actually
yeah,
tried
but
building recently. I built a small. I think I showed you it. It was a small hollow terminal.
yeah, that's right. I'm
It,
also really lazy. I'm a lazy dev, so I don't want to dev. I hate it.
yeah, I think with building, it's very tedious. Like I think
Yeah,
building
need
is
patience.
easy to learn, but hard to master because it takes a lot of patience and attention to detail. I think lighting makes Roblox building a lot easier because you can
Uh,
definitely make a very low poly build look very detailed with Roblox lighting. But it's definitely simple but pretty tedious at the same time because of how much time you need to do it. I think working on what little building projects I have done, I have a newfound respect for builders.
mm,
And I really understand like if this stuff gets leaked how mad they get because
yeah,
it is a lot of work. It's a very rewarding work, but it's still a lot of work nonetheless.
yeah, it is. It's a lot to do.
So, Aaron asked a question. Do you think the underworld will become as long-standing as the Mandalorians?
I'm gonna have to say no because well, it started in 2010 and it's 2021 now. That's 11 years. I don't even plan to be here for that many years.
So, are you like the Taker 64 of the criminal underworld right now?
I guess. I
Interesting.
guess so. Yeah. I mean, you also got to put Vax's name in it because he is the godfather of the criminal underworld. He really started the first criminal group there was, which is his High Cartel.
Vexus
Um,
Spark, was it?
Vax's Dread, yeah.
Okay.
He actually hates Sino with a passion.
Interesting.
Because I think Sino was taking some of his success, like Sino was saying, I did this and not Vaxis, you know?
Oh, yeah, that gets
Yeah.
definitely gets annoying.
Yeah. So Vaxis just hates him.
I mean, I don't blame
Uh,
him. I'd hate anyone that said that about my work too, especially if I put a lot of time and effort in it. So,
yeah.
yeah, I
I
definitely
mean,
understand the feeling.
yeah. I mean, Vaxis quit a few months ago. I think he just quit Roblox as a whole. I don't think he's even coming on Discord anymore. He
Oof.
just doesn't want to. He hates his game. He just despises it now, I guess. And most of his friends have left because he's been around for so long. Everyone's basically left.
Yeah. How long has Vaxis been around then?
If Vaxis could have been around from 2012, I reckon.
Oh wow, another 2012 person.
Yeah, or maybe even earlier, because I know his cartel ended in about late 2015, maybe early 2016,
Hmm.
which then brought Cino onto making his cartel.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
joined the genre around 2014, and
yeah,
I think 2014 and 2015, I'd say. I think 2015 was a different era, or 2016, but kind of to me, it was a different era of the Star Wars genre. The Star Wars genre really changed with the developer exchange coming out, and the gun clanners starting to kind of migrate into the Star Wars genre. Because the way it was before is everything was very separate for the longest time. The Star Wars genre had no interactions with the Hellgas genre, for example. They were all very separate. They all did their own thing. And back then, you couldn't make money, and you couldn't really earn much from the Star Wars genre. So the main thing you were judged by was your community. Like, your builds didn't even matter as much either, and developers were a lot cheaper. And I think worked for a lot cheaper. And I think there were more developers back then too. It was much easier to build back then because you weren't expected to do as much detail. Then 2016 came in, and Askavix, I think a lot of these people know who Askavix is. He's kind of created the new
turning point.
Yeah, it was definitely a turning point. Because
and then you now have Viking Law as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So you had these new entrepreneurs coming in that, unlike other major leaders in the Star Wars genre, weren't doing it for the community, they were doing it for the profit. And this created this kind of Roblox entrepreneur mentality where they would make their own SWUs, and you could earn money from Robux. In 2016, I think is when the Dev Exchange came out, you were able to convert your Robux into actual money. So when this happened, you had all these developers and entrepreneurs working so hard to set up these different mini-universes, mini-genres, for the sake of profit. And I think that really kind of changed the attitude of group leaders in the Star Wars genre. And I think that was the start of the decline that we're kind of seeing now, is the idea of creating a completely separate, isolated genre kind of became the norm. And
I mean,
continue.
I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? I mean, what was I gonna? Shit, I forgot.
Oof, it's okay.
Continue.
It could come back later. It really became the norm because then you had the people from the gun clanners were kind of coming into the Star Wars groups, and that kind of changed the atmosphere there. And the Star Wars genre started to change, some for the better, some for the worse. And right now the Star Wars genre is basically a collection of multiple independent genres that kind of do their own thing. People started creating groups to be their enemies instead of warring a completely different group. You would have the person creating the group to be enemies and the group holder, etc. And Ambush had a point. The clanners really give the toxicity.
I disagree with that though.
So
they do have a lot of toxicity. Us Star Wars guys, we're probably the most toxic fan base of all time.
Fair enough. Star Wars is a pretty toxic fan base. I will admit that.
We are the most toxic fan base I've ever seen. Like, we'll hate on every bad thing that Disney does. Even I do it. I hate Disney. I'm pissed at Disney. The only thing they've given us is Rogue One, really.
What about the Mandalorian?
The show's fine because Jon Favreau was doing the Mando. I love Jon Favreau. I think, and David Filoni, which I love him.
Filoni, yep. He did the Clone Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's doing Bad Batch now, which is fine. But the thing is, I don't like the president or the CEO of Lucasfilm at the moment, who Disney have put in charge.
Yeah.
Because look, George had his plan. He gave his plans to Disney, but they didn't want to use them, and they did their own thing, which in the end stuffed everything up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he definitely did.
Yeah. George wanted to go into more the midichlorians and stuff,
Yeah.
Which would have been cool. I'd love to see Luke becoming the Grand Master and everything, instead of just a little snippet of the thing burning down and Ben turning in, and Solo turning into what's his name, Kylo Ren. Even though
personally, I think Darth Caedus was better as a character than Kylo Ren. Darth Caedus, which is basically Kylo Ren in the old canon. So the thing with Darth Caedus, he was pretty cool because he became a Sith Lord to help the galaxy. He actually was basically with this the successor of the Republic as a
Mm.
Sith Lord, and he was
I mean,
actually pulling kind of a Revan type thing, if I recall correctly, trying to save the galaxy by conquering it or just using Sith philosophy to kind of protect the galaxy. I forgot the exact details, but it was definitely a more in-depth and interesting character who had actually suffered a
yeah.
lot more loss than just Kylo Ren.
If I'm correct though, the Ben Solo character is based on Jason Solo,
Yeah, that's
the
Darth
Star Wars.
Caedus.
From
Yeah,
what? Oh,
yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Oh,
Jason Solo became Darth Caedus, same person.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, yeah, that's who it's based on, if I'm correct, really.
yeah,
I would love for Disney to add more to Legends, because I do like Legends material.
yeah. Some of it's
I
really
like,
crazy.
yeah, I want to see Yuzan. I want to see the Yuzan Vaughn. Yuzan Vaughn.
Yeah, the
Whatever.
Yuzan Vong were very interesting. I liked it because it was like it was a very unique threat that actually felt like a threat. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't, light versus dark. This is a completely different faction because I think that's,
It was evil. It was pure evil.
I think
Was
Zakul was interesting because it was a neutral faction
Yeah.
that could dominate, but I think the Yuzhan Vong really captured this completely foreign idea where the Force doesn't even work as much against them. This isn't a competition to who can use the Force better. This is literally a competition of technology against organic. Like, it was a completely different conflict and
yeah.
different ideology completely, which I think was really interesting, and how both the Sith, the Mandalorians, and the Jedi, everyone had to deal with them.
Yeah, it reminds me of Thanos and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Against all the superheroes and some villains, I think.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what was your
Well,
opinion on Infinity War and Endgame?
I personally think Endgame was better.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
For one reason, which is Tony Stark snapping.
So the ending, yeah,
Uh,
I think the ending to
yeah.
Endgame was like one of the best endings I've ever seen. It was such
Yeah,
a
it was.
satisfying ending, and they really just followed through with everything they had been building up.
Mm.
There was a lot of payoffs. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the ending. Yeah, there's some people, as I kind of mentioned in the last episode, there's some people that will look at Infinity War and say Infinity War is better because of the quality of story, which I understand. I mean, I think from a writer's perspective, Infinity War was a more quality story regarding
Yeah.
the entire movie.
Because
Whereas,
it's the fight, it's the battles, but Endgame's more about the strategy, the winning,
Mhm.
to get everyone back.
yeah, I think
fix
Infinity
it.
War
Well,
did a good job of
fix the
setting up the
mistakes.
stakes. Yeah, I think
Yes.
Infinity War did an amazing job setting up the stakes. Because there is no, the way writers work with stakes is they kind of show what can happen, whereas Marvel showed us what did happen. They showed this is what happens if Thanos wins. We saw it with our own eyes, and so we had I guess you could say the emotions of satisfaction that they really came back and fixed everything.
Yeah.
And
The only
now
note
they
that-
have to fight for it. It's not over yet. So I
Yeah.
think it
The only
was really good
problem-
how they did that.
The only problem I had with it is Bruce Banner and the Hulk merging together to make a smart Hulk.
That was interesting.
I mean, just leave it as the Hulk, man.
Yeah.
Leave it as the Hulk. Hulk smash. I want Hulk smash. That's what I want the Hulk for. Hulk smash. That's why I love the Hulk as well. I mean, my favorite superhero is Batman, though.
Oh, okay. So
And-
so you're a DC person.
Well, no, I only like the Dark Knight trilogy.
That
in
was
the
a
DC.
well-made movie. I think
Yes.
a lot of people, especially writers, can agree that the Dark Knight was, if not the most, one of the best-made movies in history. One of them.
I agree with that. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Not just
Um,
superhero movies, but movies in
Yeah.
general, because they really basically did everything you're supposed to do with a movie. I mean, everything you're supposed to do. You had the direct ideological conflict between the Batman and the Joker, and I liked it because the stakes in that movie was very philosophical. Because if you really think about it, you know, you had at the end, the Joker was trying to prove that everyone was bad like him and everyone was corrupt like him. Where Batman believed that everyone was good like him. And even Joker kind of referenced that the whole thing was a battle for the soul of Gotham. And, you know, when Joker had it, so there were two different ships, and one was prisoners and criminals, and the other one was civilians, and they both had the choice to explode the other ship. And he was confident one of them was going to blow up the ship first. If you think about it, it doesn't destroy Gotham. It doesn't ruin Gotham. This is they've made us care about these two groups of people we've never met before because of the stakes and the ideology they really present. And I think that's a really good thing with storytelling is you don't have to make it large scale for a good story. I do like universes, I do like franchises, I do like when things are connected. I do like world building. But I think regarding just a good story, you don't need something large scale for it to be amazing. And I think The Dark Knight really showed that, especially with the dialogue and acting, that was good too. But the trilogy in general was also a very satisfying trilogy. I don't really have a problem with any of the Dark Knight trilogy. I think Christopher Nolan did an amazing job with that. Batman Begins was really good. I enjoyed Batman Begins. I enjoyed especially The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight Rises was good too. And I liked it because someone did Bane. I liked how they did Bane. Tom Hardy did a good job in the role. It was interesting because there was a psychologist that kind of observed the entire Dark Knight trilogy and kind of theorized that, you know, Batman had PTSD and each of the antagonists he fought was a symbolic of him overcoming his PTSD because they were basically the physical embodiments of some of the vulnerabilities people with PTSD have. And it was really interesting kind of how he broke it down and how Batman overcame that because at the end, he stopped being Batman and lived a normal life, which was an ending that, you know, some people didn't like because they're like, oh, he should always be Batman. I personally liked it because to me, we have enough Batman stories where this guy's Batman until he's 80 years old and then he trains Batman Beyond. You know, that show came out, and that created the new... Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, it was a good show. And that kind of created the idea, you know, you got an older Batman. He never stops doing what he's doing. I think the Dark Knight trilogy, especially since they were trying to capture the realism, trying to reflect more of the real world in the movies, I think, you know, it was good that Bruce Wayne was able to live his life at the end. I think, to me at least, it was pretty satisfying. And I think they set that up a lot, that, you know... Yeah. There was a satisfaction because they really made us care about Bruce Wayne as a character. I think they did a really good job at that, really showing the human side, etc. And I think he did good as both roles. I think he really did. Yeah. Even the choreography was amazing. They did a martial art called Casey, which was a new fighting style for Batman. And they did it because they really wanted to show, when Batman threw a punch or a kick or whatever, they wanted to show he was really... you know, exerting himself for it. Casey is very physical. You definitely extend yourself a lot, with the punches and the kicks. You know, you really see it. So I think, you know, they did a pretty good job with that, for sure.
Also, to what Aaron said, the Joker before the Dark Knight was supposed to be comedic, but when the Dark Knight came, it changed the perspective of Joker for the rest of the time.
Yes.
I say live action, yes.
Live action, yes.
But Mark Hamill's variation, which his first time playing it was in the 90s. Mm-hmm. He had the funny, but then he also had the scary Joker, you know.
Yeah.
I honestly think Mark Hamill is the better Joker, but that's only because he only has the voice to do. He doesn't have to play the actual character. He didn't have to make the movement with his face or anything. Mm-hmm. But on voice alone, I think Mark Hamill did a better Joker than Heath Ledger. I do love Heath Ledger's Joker, though. He's the best live-action Joker we'll ever see. I don't think anyone will ever come close to Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm. I definitely like Kevin Conroy's Batman, too.
I like Ben Affleck's Batman, in all honesty. I think he has the looks for it, and the voice for it, and from the new Batman trailer with Robert Pattinson, I do not like Robert Pattinson as Batman. He does not look like a Batman. He still reminds. He's the guy from Twilight. I do not like Twilight. I'm gonna go watch the movie, but I will not be happy about it.
I see.
um,
I think that movie would be interesting though because they're really making the Riddler, kind of like what they did with the Joker.
It's R-rated, isn't it?
Huh?
It's an R-rated movie, isn't it?
I
If
think
I'm
it's
correct.
PG-13.
No, I'm pretty sure it's R.
I'm gonna
18
look it
plus.
up. I'm gonna look it up.
It doesn't say. I don't think. Um,
Um,
doesn't say. I don't think.
let me see. The Batman in 2022.
Yeah, it's an R-rated movie.
Oh, it's interesting. Interesting. Well, the thing is, like, the kind of like what they did for the Joker in live action, they're really making the Riddler a very scary and intimidating antagonist.
Who did
Because
they cast as the Riddler?
I don't know. I'm gonna look that up.
Well, I'll check. See, it's Paul Danko. It looks like.
I have
Yeah,
absolutely
Paul
no idea
Danko.
who that is.
I haven't heard of him before. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still not happy that they removed Ben Affleck from the role of Batman. The same thing with I don't like Tom Holland as Spider-Man either.
Sorry, you're a Tobey Maguire fan?
No, Andrew Garfield.
Alright,
I
so
love
you're the Andrew Garfield guy. It's interesting how the Spider-Man fans work. It's like they have these subcults where you got this cult
No, but
following
what-
for Tobey Maguire, this cult following for Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland.
Yeah. The thing is, I admit that Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I admit that, but Andrew Garfield is the better Spider-Man in my opinion. He has the looks, he has the character, he has the suit. Even I do like Tobey Maguire suits. I don't like the newer suits that Tom Holland uses as much, and he doesn't have the looks in my opinion. And yeah,
I do like what
Yeah.
they did with Mysterio, though.
I mean, yeah, they've had good ideas. Yeah, I personally don't like Zendaya in it either. I rather MJ or Gwen, like the original MJ or Gwen.
Yeah. I
Um,
think Sony was just being greedy. They were so greedy with Spider-Man. It's like they kept on having their plans to create their own universe. And then
Yeah.
Loki comes out and it completely revolutionizes the multiverse. So what Sony did was pointless anyway. Because in the end, either way, your stuff is now canon in the MCU. They made every single Marvel movie in universe canon in the MCU. So all of that trying to hog the characters is pretty pointless. I mean, Venom. I don't know if you saw Venom.
I love Venom.
I liked
Oh,
Venom too. I think it was pretty
Yeah.
good
It was,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the second one to come out.
with Carnage.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to go watch Black Widow.
You haven't seen Black Widow?
No, I have not, because I was in lockdown. Movies were closed, and I'm not paying $36 for Disney Plus premium access.
So okay. I mean, I
I'll
paid
probably go-
for the premium access. I saw the
Nah, I'll
movie.
probably go watch it.
Ah,
I'll probably
okay.
go watch it in a week or two.
All right, who are you gonna watch it with? Do you go by yourself or?
We'll see.
All right.
It depends how little Vex is feeling.
All right.
Might take one of the boys, or maybe a chick. Who
I
knows?
see. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, my opinion on the movie, I think the movie itself wasn't bad. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. I just think there are some things that I found disappointing in it. But I'm a comic fan, so
What was the disappointing part?
the antagonists were kind of disappointing to me.
Okay.
And you'll kind of see what I mean. When I say that, the antagonists, like when you got movies like you got antagonists like Thanos,
Yes.
or I mean
Right.
even Kang, like even the recent Loki, you got these very strong personalities. You have these
Yeah.
clear objectives and goals. I think the movie industry has really set up a new norm for what you'd expect a good, well-written antagonist to be. In the past, I'd say decade or two.
Yeah.
People, the whole idea of those Saturday morning cartoon villains, those mustache twirling villains, or the people that are evil for the sake of being evil. That kind of view is kind of changing by what I've seen for what is expected of an antagonist. So I think because of that, and Ambush seems to agree with me, the Black Widow thing is kind of disappointing in my opinion in that regard. But overall, it was pretty good. I mean, besides that, it was a pretty good movie.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Taskmaster is a girl, and without powers.
I can neither confirm nor deny those statements, but
no,
I will say Taskmaster does have powers. He does have powers.
Oh, okay.
Taskmaster does have powers, yeah.
Okay, but they're not as OP as they were in the comics, were they? They're very. Oh, Ambush said she doesn't.
I thought Taskmaster did because they. I think Disney did say they did butcher Taskmaster, but I think they did say
powers
that
was supposed to be that he can replicate anyone's fighting style.
They kept that.
Did they?
Yeah.
But to the extent.
I don't know if it was to the extent, but they did keep it.
It's training, not power.
I think. Well, the thing is with Disney is they actually announced that the first mutant they were going to consider a mutant was in Black Widow. They did say that. I don't know of anyone else that has any kind of superhuman abilities in Black Widow. But Taskmaster.
I don't think anyone does.
Taskmaster is the only one.
Much.
Yeah. But, so, yeah, I mean, but yeah, no, it's definitely watchable. Yeah, I'll check DMs probably after this Ambush, but it's definitely watchable.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I do like... Did you hear that, what's her name? Scarlett Johansson suing Disney for $50 million?
Yes, I did hear that. I think the same thing happened with Gal Gadot in HBO Max, right?
I'm not sure.
With Wonder Woman, because
probably, yeah.
I
want to watch that.
I understand why the contract did not include it, but it's to me it was pretty intentional, just to kind of sidestep it.
Scarlett Johansson's contract. They went with Disney in the first Avengers movie, were they? Don't think they were.
I'm not sure.
Disney by Marvel? Let's see.
I just know COVID wasn't a thing, so these streaming services were not set up yet.
Yeah, and I don't think it was in her original contract, and I think they did it without her knowing.
It was not in her original contract. So basically, to my understanding, with Scarlett Johansson, is that the lead actor normally gets a percentage of the money made in the theatrical release.
It's on the box office money.
Exactly, and there was no box office. There was not as much box office money because of the Disney Plus release, and she didn't get money from Disney Plus because the contract didn't specify Disney Plus because the streaming services weren't a thing then. But it is pretty underhanded. Not trying to modify the contract or trying to inform anyone of anything. Just going around and just trying to get more money. Disney doesn't need any more money. It's Disney.
Looking at the box office, I'm looking at the box office. They only got $275 million from box office. That's all they got from the box office so far, which isn't that much.
Yeah, because a lot of it was streaming service. So Disney's getting a lot more money. And the lead actor's not getting any. They did something similar with Wonder Woman 1984 and Gal Gadot. Because Gal Gadot was, I think sued. I think it was that. I think it was that movie because they did the same thing with HBO Max.
I think so.
I forgot. It was some actor in HBO Max that sued HBO or Warner Brothers or whatever because for the exact same contract reason.
Also, let's just add something on. Zack Snyder's Justice League is nothing. You can't compare it with any Marvel movies. It isn't that good. The Snyder Cut isn't that good.
So I think every Snyder loyalist would completely jump down your back. So why do you think it's not as good?
It's just adding on. What you give us a few seconds of Dark Side, just and think that's going to be like amazing. Just like Darkseid still didn't do anything. You didn't give us the next two movies that could have actually made better, because it's like Infinity War, the build up. That's what the first Zack Snyder. That's what the Snyder Cut was. Now 2 and 3 would have been like Endgame, if I'm correct. 3 is where they actually go to Apocalypse, and or was supposed to be.
So from a universe level, they really, you can't really expand on it as much. However, from a writer's perspective, I think it was better because they made Steppenwolf make sense.
That's the only really difference I did. Look, I enjoyed it, but like again, it was just the same thing, just with add-ons.
Yeah, so I guess it just depends on what you expect from a movie.
I hate Ezra Miller as the Flash.
I don't know why. I don't know why he's the Flash. Even the Snyder Cut didn't really fix him being the Flash.
Yeah,
Grant Gustin in the
I know. I love
show,
Grant.
I don't know what happened to the Flash.
It's still going.
I know. It's still going. I keep up with it. I just don't know what happened to the writing. Like,
I think it's just
to me, the finale.
They've got the idea, because like they had Godspeed in the recent one, but then the character of Bart Allen, he looks like I haven't been watching. I'm 2 seasons behind now because I've been just busy. But the character of Bart Allen, from the looks of it, looks really bad, and it looks like the what's it called? The cinematography and the animations have just gone down as well.
Oh no, they improved it. I will say that their CGI got a lot better. They did a fight with Flash and Godspeed a few episodes ago, and they did a lot very good with the speedster fight in slow motion.
I saw some lightsabers.
Now that's what I'm about to talk about, because the finale.
Oh,
the show's been long enough, so I probably can mention this. But basically,
is this the last set? This isn't the last set, is it?
So what happened was, the idea of lightning swords did exist in the comics, but they applied it in the stupidest way, because they basically ripped off lightsabers. You don't have to, just because you have lightning swords doesn't mean you have to rip off lightsabers. So I'm just looking at this and I'm just asking myself, why? Why? I don't. The idea was good, the execution of it was horrible. I don't understand. So yeah, I don't understand. Like, that episode fluctuated between being super good and super bad. Like, you'd have some scenes and moments where you're like, this is amazing, this is good dialogue, this is good writing. And then you'd have certain scenes where you've just given up on life.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, is Iris still annoying? Iris?
No, they fixed Iris. At long last, they actually made that character a reporter. They actually gave her the skills Iris has in the comics. They did fix Iris until they gave her residual Speed Force energy and kind of got rid of the entire thing. So they fixed Iris just to ruin her in another way. Like, I was really enjoying Iris's character development. Like, they actually gave her a news media. They really capitalize on her skills in investigating journalism. Like, they actually, and even the actress was very happy. They actually made Iris.
I like the actress.
Yeah, and I think that I'd say I liked the first half of season 6 with Bloodwork. I really liked that. That half season, because I liked how we were able to understand why the antagonist is doing what he's doing, but also kind of see him transform into the antagonist. That doesn't happen a lot with shows that I've noticed, or especially The Flash. Normally the antagonist already exists, but in this case,
I like Reverse Flash. I think Reverse Flash is the best.
I think everyone thinks villain. Reverse Flash in general is probably one of the best villains, and I think
Zoom and Reverse Flash are by far the best. And I guess you can put Savitar there as well, because I did like Savitar as a character.
So my issue with Savitar as a character is they combined Savitar and Future Flash and made them the same thing.
Yeah,
that was my issue. Yeah, Aaron is right. The one true antagonist is our favorite Reverse Flash. I can fully agree with that. I did like what they did with Bloodwork, because we were able to see him become a villain. He wasn't at the beginning of the season. We actually got to see the evolution of the character, unlike these other antagonists where they already existed. Now, I think they did mess up Godspeed in season 7. So this is the funny thing, right? So they have Godspeed come in season 5, who is a very powerful speedster. But in the comics, he actually had an origin story. He actually had character development. You actually understood his existence and became an anti-hero. So they make him a drug addict to Speed in season 5. But then they say, you know what? No, we were wrong to do that, so we're going to make him a bigger antagonist, and we're going to make him send clones and try to get, Speed, etc. And then he comes in the final episode, and he literally says the line, "I like being the bad guy," and becomes just a psychopath that wants Speed. Like,
honestly,
they didn't have to do it. They were already fixing it. And there was a scene where, like, Godspeed lost his memories, and he, was acting like a normal human being. And you actually thought, okay, maybe they're going to give Godspeed some depth. He gets his memories back, and he's kind of conflicted. No. He literally just said, "I like being the bad guy," and started speaking Hindi because the actor was from India. So he started Punjabi or Hindi, either one of those two. Even though the actor isn't even Indian in the comics, but he starts speaking Punjabi, and then we get a lightsaber fight. And it was the most wasted opportunity I've ever seen. I don't understand how you could kill. I'm talking about DC. So I don't understand how you can have the ability to actually make an amazing character, and you choose the most stereotypical, shallow antagonist you can think of. And then you bring Thawne. I think that's good. I mean, it was great to see him back. I mean, it always is. But it gets to the point where it feels like every single time the show starts to go down, they just bring in Thawne to fix it. They bring the Reverse Flash to fix it. And that seems to be...
But it does fix it. That's the thing. It does fix it.
It does. But I think when you get to, like, the 7th time he's come in to fix things. Like, I think Season 5 was only really good because of Reverse Flash. I think Cicada was... The first version of Cicada was good. Until they did some time travel story about how his daughter came from the future. And it just overcomplicated things. Like, I don't understand. Nora, I tolerated Nora. That was fine to do. I just don't understand why Cicada's daughter had to become, like, the antagonist for the second half of the season.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't understand. It wasn't even the second half. Like, the story changed for no reason. It really did. Because, I mean, in my opinion, Cicada was fine with how, with how it was. So, but I think at least the first couple seasons of The Flash is definitely the best. For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, should we move back to Star Wars, or?
Yes, we can move back to Star Wars. So with Star Wars, I know they're coming out with a few new shows.
Yeah, there's Ahsoka, the Kenobi show. There's the anime one. Yeah, Book of Boba Fett, the anime.
I personally don't understand why it's... Well, okay, this is the only reason I'm tolerating Star Wars becoming an anime. This is the only reason. Is because they're doing an anthology with different stories.
Yes.
In an anime fashion. It's like a different style of storytelling. It's not like they're
putting the prequels into anime.
Exactly. They're not...
Or the sequels.
Because they tried to do that with Forces of Destiny. And I didn't understand why. Like, they're introducing something new and that has a purpose instead of changing what's already there. So I did like that about that. I do like... the Book of Boba Fett coming out. That does look very interesting.
I'm interested in that because the Hutt Cartel is shown in it because he's in Jabba's palace. Jabba's dead. Because as we all know, he was killed by Leia. And yeah, in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I do want to see more of the criminal underworld though, like the Coruscant underworld. I do want to see a live action Star. Yes.
So in my opinion, you
um,
cannot beat the Nar Shaddaa in KOTOR 2. To me, I think that
probably
was
not.
because I like the exchange a lot. You probably know this already. I do like the exchange. And I think the
Um,
story arcs
yeah.
in the second Knights of the Old Republic was very interesting.
To add on to what we're saying, I think we need to see more about the transition from the Republic to Empire. I mean, I think we're seeing that with the Bad Batch now.
We are. Yep.
The season 7 of the Clone Wars. We saw the transition.
Hmm. Yeah, it was
We've
nice.
seen it.
What's your opinion
See,
on Rebels, though?
I personally don't like season 1 to 2, but after that, it gets better. In my opinion.
Personally, I think it only got better because they brought in legend stuff. The very thing Disney swore to destroy.
What was the first legend things they brought in? I can't remember.
Malachor. They brought
That's
him,
right, Malcolm.
which was really cool.
5. Yes.
Apparently, it was just one version of KOTOR 2 was destroyed, but we won't talk about that because they did such a good replica of the Traya's Academy and Sith Holocrons. It looked just like Knights of the Old Republic 2. And then they brought Thrawn, and Timothy Zahn. I'm so glad they actually brought Timothy Zahn into making Thrawn for Disney.
What are with these helmets in the new Bad Batch episode? I don't know if you've seen it.
I did not see the new Bad Batch episode yet, so you're gonna have to hold off the spoilers.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
But
I mean, it came out today. Like, I've actually I
make
woke
it
up at
for me.
11 a.m. and then a couple hours after that, I had to leave the house. I think I forgot what I was doing. Honestly,
Yeah,
I did have to leave
I'm
the
just
house
gonna
for
say,
something.
I'm just gonna say, there's new stormtrooper helmets, and there's some commandos that we will be seeing,
All right,
but and it's not Gregor.
interesting.
So think of a game that LucasArts made, maybe
Republic
early
Commando
2000s.
game.
Yeah, maybe think of those commandos. They may or may not be in it.
I think that I'm happy that Disney is actually starting to acknowledge that maybe the old canon has something good. They still ruined Darth Bane. Now, Darth Bane was probably my favorite trilogy of books I have ever read from Star Wars. Now, there are going to be people that like the post-Return of the Jedi, which were good stories. They had the Yuuzhan Vong, they had stuff. But there's just something about the Darth Bane books that really appealed to me. I really enjoy it. And then they made it non-canon and got rid of the entire idea of why Bane did
I
what
want
he
to
did.
know. Yeah, I want to know more about Plagueis as well. We never got to see him live action at all.
Yeah, the Darth Plagueis book was good. I don't know if you read it.
Yeah. No, I did not.
It was
don't read I don't.
It was a
I
really
don't read
good book.
much.
So basically, what they did was Plagueis was alive, like for the first part of Episode 1.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Palpatine killed him before he became Chancellor.
Yeah.
They really made Plagueis just a cool guy. Like, I never thought I'd say that about like a Sith Lord in the Rule of Two, but he was just a chill guy. Like he was a scientist, or he was a complete Sith, but he was very interesting character, and his views were very interesting.
Yeah. Apparently, he also was one of the main planners. I think he wanted to take Anakin.
Yeah.
Well.
Well, the thing is with it is, Plagueis was afraid of the Chosen One. So you heard Anakin was the Chosen One, so he's like, oh my gosh, have my experiments with the Force mad at me? Is it trying to fight back? But
That's what it was, as we find out. I think another comic, I can't remember which one.
yeah. But, Darth Plagueis was a really interesting character. I actually really liked him. He was chill. He was a pretty chill Sith.
Yeah, he was. I do want to see more of Thrawn.
Thrawn was good. I haven't read the new books yet. I've read... I know some of them, but...
I'm in the Mando, though. I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, he's going to be in the new Mando season.
Or the Ahsoka series. Which one?
Oh, both. I think both, actually.
Oh, okay.
Actually, maybe not. Oh, maybe just Ahsoka. Because Mando doesn't have Grogu anymore, so Thrawn's looking for Grogu, not Mando.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the theory that someone made that Filoni created an alternate timeline, one where Ahsoka didn't die.
Oh yes, I've heard of that. And
Because
it's because Ezra pulled her out,
yes, and I
right?
think yeah, and I think it's kind of plausible because if you really think about it, Luke Skywalker didn't have Grogu as an apprentice, and Snoke was the thing because that's why they're trying to get Grogu. It looks like they're trying to get a Snoke because they said we'd see the origins of the First Order in the show, and I think that Ahsoka being alive was what allowed Grogu to go to Tython for Luke to find him in the first place. Because Ahsoka
Yeah.
did direct Mando, or Din Djarin, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call him, to Tython.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a pretty logical theory, and a pretty plausible theory,
Yeah.
because the only changes to both of those universes is one where Ahsoka unpacks things and one where she doesn't, and then she's one of the dead Jedi speaking to Rey at the end of Episode 9 anyway.
So in reality, I mean, they could like non-canonize the sequels, or put it in an alternate timeline.
I mean, everyone's
Which-
doing a multiverse nowadays. Why not do it for Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, if they want, they can just take out the sequels and just redo George Lucas's films and let him do the directing and whatnot, and I will be very happy with Disney. And I will be willing to give.
Sorry, I completely accidentally clicked lounge, but
It's all
I
good.
heard what you said.
No, okay, kill. No. What I'm saying is, don't let Disney touch it, but let George direct what he had in mind. You know what I mean? Let George have the power to do what he wanted to do. No, but the thing is, I'm pretty sure George was helping with the Mando with Jon Favreau and Filoni. From what I remember, I was reading up on it. Either way, George has this. I think he had scripts already made for 7, 8, 9.
My
Which they
issue
could
is I don't think
use.
it's better than the old Legends books. I still don't think the story was better than that.
The 7, 8, 9 that George made, if I'm correct,
It had
when
the
I read it,
wills.
they were about midichlorians and how Luke becomes the Grand Master, but with that we could see the Yu Zhang Vong become the enemy because there's no Empire or First Order at this time, so that means that could have mean Yu Zhang Vong would be the bad guys, but we will never know because
I think George Lucas said he wanted to do the wills though as a thing.
Yeah, but that would be part of
All the
that would be
midichlorians.
part of yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
it
it
would
would-
be interesting. I still personally think that the Legends books would still be better, but that's probably because I'm pretty biased towards the old canon.
Yeah. I mean, look, they can do that, but it would take more time for George to write them.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Star Wars kind of already had a multiverse, at least in the Legends continuity, because they had characters like Waru. That was a weird ass book. I'm gonna be real.
What?
The Crystal Star, that book where they introduced the Anti-Force.
I've
With
never heard of
Waru.
it.
So it was a weird book. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't even read the whole thing, but it was a weird book. And they basically had this creature called Waru that was apparently from another parallel universe. And he used
I
something
Googled
called
it.
the Anti-Force, which was like the polar opposite of the Force and destroyed the Force. And he wanted to go home, which is we're basically talking about the Flash season 1 in Star Wars. And but no, they introduced the Anti-Force and everything. Then they introduced other space. So you had like hyperspace, other space, real space. Like yeah, there was some weird stuff in Legends, but they already kind of introduced the idea that a multiverse can exist. So I wouldn't mind if they did different timelines. Everyone else is doing it. Why not do it for Star Wars? Make
Yeah, fair
everyone
enough.
happy. The sequel fans get their continuity. The sequel haters get their continuity, etc.
No, Aaron Crisis was much later.
Crisis on
Crisis.
Infinite Earths was.
That was about season 5. No, that was season 6 or 7.
He's talking
'Cause
about the
no,
comics.
it was no. You're talking about the comics? No, yeah, season 6.
Yeah, it was
Flash.
season 6 of The Flash. No, I'm saying that it copied because they introduced an antagonist with a polar negative side of the Force that wanted
Mm.
to go home back to his home and had to consume Force users to do it. But yeah, it's kind of funny how the multiverse started in DC because they literally made the multiverse just to explain inconsistencies. I think I forgot for sure, but that was a plot device. The in Crisis on Infinite Earths was basically a retcon done right.
Yeah.
I think that's what Loki kind of was too. I think these are actually retcons they did amazingly. Because they're
Mm.
able to explain loopholes and plot holes they didn't explain before in a very pretty good manner for sure. So I
Mm.
liked Loki personally. I think it was a really well written show. I mean, it was definitely different, but I did like the character development they did.
It was the best there. It was the best show that Marvel had made. It was better. I think WandaVision was kind of the worst in my opinion. I didn't.
Division was good because
It
people
was.
had low expectations for it.
I think I didn't really like it that much. To be honest, I think I like the more fighting as well. So it's my what's it called? My bias towards the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was really good on an action, philosophical, and well, I guess ideological and philosophical is the same. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier was pretty good in general, with everything. I really liked the show.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I like Loki or Falcon and the Winter Soldier more. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was
Mm.
like took Captain America the Winter Soldier and made it even better. That's kind of how I saw it because they did a lot more world building. Captain America the Winter Soldier was pretty self-contained. It included
Yeah.
Shield and Nick Fury, but they didn't really acknowledge much of the other people like Thor, Iron Man. But again, only one Avengers
Mm.
movie had happened. I liked how Captain America, or Falcon the Winter Soldier, was able to incorporate basically the entire Marvel universe and all the events,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
implement it there, really building a larger world.
Yeah.
But
Did pretty well.
yeah,
Um.
but WandaVision, the thing with WandaVision that I think, I don't know. I think that it was really good that they did a House of M type storyline, and they kind of complemented Loki in a way. But
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think it was very I don't know. Like there's parts of it that I really like that are really iconic and other parts that are not as iconic. It's hard to explain. I have mixed feelings about WandaVision, but I
Yeah.
really liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I liked how, back on it was basically a political action story. Like
Mm.
all Captain America movies pretty much are besides Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, even Civil War kind of is too in a way, but it really was able to touch on social justice issues without completely overdoing it, like a lot of stuff does nowadays. A lot of media does that nowadays, and they were
Yeah.
also able to introduce Zemo as Zemo with the mask and
Yes.
everything, which was cool. I really liked Zemo. They really did very good character development
Yes.
for that character. I was very satisfied with how that character ended up.
The only difference is I don't know if this is going to happen later or not, but Zemo, I'm pretty sure if I'm right, his mask is, or in the comics, is stuck on his face because acid, if I'm correct.
Well,
Yeah, I do.
apparently
I
there's
do
two
want to say
versions of
that.
Zemo. So you had
Oh.
like the World War II Zemo, which, man, I forgot his name.
Mm.
The first Baron Zemo, and then you had the modern day Helmet. Was it Helmet? I forgot my
Yeah.
comic lore. Marvel Comics to me bombed. I don't. The
Yeah, Helmet
quality
Zemo is
just
one way
isn't-
say.
The newer like actual comics, kind of, they're not the quality they used to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking at the thing. He's the son of Baron Heinrich Zemo.
Yeah,
which
so
is the one-
Heinrich was World War
yeah.
II, and then Helmet was the modern one.
Yes.
And I liked what they did with Helmet, honestly. They actually did a pretty good Zemo for him.
Mm.
But when it comes to Marvel, I think a good way to say it is Marvel media is better than the comics, and DC Comics is better than the media.
Yeah. I say DC have the better animation and comics, but
Yeah.
Marvel have the better action, like actual
Live
films,
action.
oh yeah, live actions.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure. It was pretty good. And Star Wars, well, Star Wars is interesting because Star Wars isn't as diverse as, well, I don't want to say as, not recently it's a lot more diverse than it used to be, because before it was just a movie, some cartoons here and there, and books. Then they introduced more TV series. So nowadays, I think Star Wars is kind of catching up to the other franchises with
Yeah.
the things they're achieving and etc. Which I think is good, especially because you had a I think all sci-fi franchises are starting to become more into competition with each other.
I just want to say the gap between Star Trek and Star Wars is very massive now.
Yes.
Because at one point Star Trek was the bigger thing because of their series, which I actually did watch even though it was from the 70s. I did watch some of it.
Did you watch? What do you think about Star Trek: The Next Generation?
I have not watched that.
You should. It's actually pretty decent. It was a lot of world building on Star Trek. So Kill mentions, he doesn't think a lot of people care about Star Trek because Star Trek did the mistake that a lot of franchises do, and that X-Men did. They did the same thing X-Men did.
What X-Men do?
And they did a soft reboot of the franchise with time travel and ruined the new timeline because they thought they could do whatever they wanted. X-Men Dark Phoenix was probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest disasters of a movie I have ever seen. No. Pirates of the Caribbean 5 was worse. I'm going to be real.
Hey, do not disrespect Jack Sparrow.
To me, in Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Jack Sparrow was not even Jack Sparrow to me. Like, they had different... His characteristics were different. Like, everything was different about him, to me. I'm a writer, so... From a writer's perspective, I saw very different thematic stuff. I think that the antagonist was fine, but the theme of the movie itself, nothing really made sense to me. There was not really a consistent theme. The plot wasn't as much there. Actually, no. Pirates of the Caribbean 5 is not as bad as Transformers The Last Night.
I love my Transformers, but I'm not going to defend it.
But
I'm not going to defend it here.
Did you see the last movie?
Oh, yes. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not defending it.
Anthony Hopkins. I don't know why he's in that movie. They ruined They didn't ruin the character. They ruined the actor. Anthony Hopkins. How do you mess up Anthony Hopkins? To me, they ruined Anthony Hopkins as an actor because it was that bad. Ever since Transformers 4, 5, and 6, the entire franchise fell apart. But yeah, I think that Star Wars.
Yeah, taking out Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox was a mistake. But the thing is, I do like Mark Wahlberg. I love Mark Wahlberg.
I think that he was a good actor, but the writing was horrible.
Yes, it's not his fault.
I think one of those unfortunate... I mean, same thing happened with X-Men Dark Phoenix. Okay, so the guy that made X-Men Dark Phoenix was the same guy that made the 2015 Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, no.
So I think
Simon Kinberg?
Let me look it up.
I'm checking. Yeah, it is, I think.
So...
yeah, it is.
I know. Oh, my God. I don't know why they chose that. I don't know what happened. What did Simon do to be able to get X-Men Dark Phoenix? What did he accomplish for him to get that job? Because
I don't know.
The movie was basically the same as the Fantastic Four movie. I'm not kidding. It had the same very anticlimactic ending. It had the same stakes.
Fantastic Four is really bad. Like, don't compare it to any other movies.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
No, it's not that. Yes, I have. I watched all of them. Fantastic Four is so shit. It is the worst movie I've ever. No, that's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen worse, but it's one of the worst. It's the
one
worst
of them.
Marvel movie. It's the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen. Fantastic Four.
Really?
The
What about
reboot.
Daredevil? Because I think the only thing that made that movie good was Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, but it's Daredevil, so it's cool.
Okay.
And the show makes it okay. Show, you know.
Yeah.
I like the show.
Or the
So-
Daredevil show? No, that's good. Like,
I know.
I'm talking about the Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah, I know, but because it's I like Ben Affleck. I love my Ben Affleck, so I'm fine.
Okay,
with it.
you're a Batfleck guy, as they call it. I don't think he's a bad actor. I think just the story in Daredevil to me was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't the best story.
Yeah.
But
I think.
Daredevil, the character of Daredevil is made better by the show, so you don't really
Yes.
think of the movie. You don't think of the movie as much anymore. You
The
think of the show.
got rid of the negative idea around Daredevil that the movie created. I do agree with that.
Mm. Yeah.
They knew how to make characters, very in-depth characters, which I think is how movie stories should go. You should be making your plot based off of the character, not trying to cram a character into the plot, and it just feels so forced everything they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, but I think Star Wars. I think Dave Filoni's doing a really good job because he does a good job at developing the characters. You care about the characters. That's the thing about writing. You gotta care about the characters. I think that's why I did not like Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I didn't care about the characters. I literally just said, just kill them already. I didn't care. Personally, I didn't care about the characters. I really didn't. But they didn't have much
Yeah.
development to me.
Yeah, the only problem with Bad Batch, I do not like Omega. Do you like Omega? What? Why is she talking like Omega? Hey, Rika.
Of course an Australian's gonna dislike it.
Just Hunter. Sid. Fuck man, it's just annoying.
Take it from an Australian that the imitation of the New Zealand or Australian accent was horrible, I guess.
Rika. Rika, come here. We have to go save Hunter. Okay, look. The thing is, the guy that did, what's his name? The guy that did the clones.
Mhm.
What's his name? The live action one, the one that did Django. What's his
Timur
name?
Morrison.
Yes, okay. He's a New Zealander. He did the part perfectly.
Yeah. I really liked him as
Yeah.
Boba Fett. I think the introduction they did for Boba Fett was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Mm,
Like,
yes. Because
The-
I
the
thought we
dude-
were gonna. Yeah.
the dude had a stick. And that's, I think, a native New Zealand weapon or whatever. Like, it was pretty tribal. Like, they actually matched the actor in that way. And he was just banging up stormtroopers. And before he even got the armor, he was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was the guy. Oh, can't remember how. It's the stick that he has is a Tuscan weapon.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
It's a Gaddafi stick. Oh, I can't remember. Tuscan, right? A Gaffy stick. It's a Gaffy, Gaddarifi. Yep, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put that in the chat. So I just want to say, I hate Ray, and she should have died, and I really do not like Ray at all, and I hope Ray just dies.
So, let me tell you something about Rey. This is an example. This is an example of a character. It was the God. I'm gonna officially name it the Godspeed effect because they did the same thing with Godspeed and Flash. This was a character that you had the opportunity to do so much with. You had the opportunity to make an amazing, well-developed, evolved character, and you choose one of the most blandest stories ever. The
It's just a
actress is
recreation.
good.
It's a recreation of the original trilogy. That's all it is.
Now I understand why. What do you think about Force Awakens?
Look, The Force Awakens was good, but then Last Jedi was shit, and then Rise of Skywalker was just
Fixing
shit.
the Last Jedi. Fixing the. That's basically. I think if the Rise of Skywalker was like a part 1 and a part 2, like they did for Infinity War and Endgame, it would have been better.
Yeah.
Because it was so rushed and too many subplots. But I like The Force Awakens because I like that J.J. Abrams even said he wanted to bring back old fans and introduce new ones. I did like The Force Awakens. And that's the thing, like...
What did they do to my boy Luke? What did they do to my boy?
Yeah, they got no. We're not talking about that.
Drinking from cow titties.
We're not
drinking from cow. He's drinking from cow titties.
Yeah, like, we're not.
He's a homeless man.
He's a bitter old homeless man. Yeah, no, we don't talk about that Luke Skywalker. The Mandalorian fixed him. That is an example. To me, that's what they did with Jack Sparrow in Pirates of Caribbean 5. Not as bad, but that's kind of the thing I disliked about it. Not as bad, but they kind of did that, in my opinion. But the thing is with Rey, at the end of the movie, so people are mad that Rey killed Kylo Ren. Why? Why are you so mad at it? Because let me explain.
Because it kills off the saga, man. I want more Skywalkers. I want to see more Skywalker babies.
Okay, let me explain why Rey being able to defeat Kylo Ren wasn't a big deal to me. Because Kylo Ren was a shot. Was shot.
I gotta say something.
Okay.
I gotta say something. Rey is not a Skywalker. Rey is definitely.
Don't talk about that. We don't. She's not a Skywalker.
Rey,
We don't talk about that.
Rey is not a fucking Skywalker.
we don't talk about that. Someone did a funny video about when she said Rey Skywalker, and they took like clips from different movies. It was a meme showing how different types of Star Wars fans reacted to it, and how everyone thought it was a bad idea. I don't know why they did that, but like I understood why Rey defeated Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren was shot with a bowcaster rifle, which normally sends stormtroopers flying in the air, and he was shot with that, and he took the shot and survived, and he was also emotionally damaged. Like as the novel explained, I understand why Rey defeated Kylo Ren there, and at the end of the movie, I didn't like Rey as much, but I thought, you know what, the next movie's gonna fix her. The next movie is going to develop her as a character. We're going to know where she came from. Everything's going to be good in the next movie. We're going to get Snoke. He's going to be a very, very, very good character. He's going to be interesting. He's going to be like a Vishya type guy. Then they kill Snoke halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And Rey gets no development. Because I think part of the issue was because they started The Last Jedi right after the end of Force Awakens. See, in Star Wars movies, there's a time gap. So it gives the opportunity for the character to have evolved. Either they already evolved and they show you how, or they evolve with the story, something else happens.
Why did they bring Palpatine back?
Well, Palpatine came back in the old lore anyway. Like, they brought in the Supreme... What would they call him? The Sovereign Guard. Like, that's from the old lore. Palpatine coming back, the Sovereign Guard... All of that's from the old lore. But I think that they could have done it better, Palpatine coming back. I do think that they did a good job at really showing the tribal nature of the Sith. Even though they changed the logo of the Sith. I think that's the only thing I liked about Rise of Skywalker. Was how they really showed the tribal nature of the Sith. They brought in the Sovereign Guard. Then they brought in the fleet under ice. And I don't know why. The entire idea of the Final Order was disappointing. And that's an understatement. I don't know why the Final Order exists. I don't know why Exegol exists.
It's called money. They want some money.
Apparently.
I mean, they're one of the richest companies in the world.
The issue is they do such a good job with trying to pull you in, and they do enough good stuff that you go to see the bad stuff, and you're gonna pay money to see it again anyway because it's so bad you want to laugh at it. So they get money either way. They either make a movie so good that you want to see it again, or they make it so bad, or they make it so complicated so you keep on going to see it again, for whatever reason. So either way, they're making money. But yeah, the thing with Star Wars is Kill mentioned so. This is the thing about Solo, right? I think Solo mainly flopped because of The Last Jedi. It wasn't a bad movie. Solo was a decent movie. I think the reason he got, the reason why he got the name Solo was pretty stupid in my opinion. I think it could have been a little more developed. But I like the movie, personally. I like the movie. I like the train fight. I like what they did with Infus Nest and the Marauders. I like Dryden Voss. I mean, I liked a lot of that stuff. They brought in a lot of Old Republic stuff. Like, Dryden Voss had a table of Exar Kun, from Exar Kun's tomb in the lore. So they brought in a lot of Old Republic stuff. I like that. I mean, Solo was a lot of world building. They brought in Mimban. They showed the Imperial Army. I think it was just a good movie for what it really was. It was a crime heist movie. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be a big blockbuster.
It's like an Indiana Jones.
Exactly. It was a very, no pun intended, solo movie. And I think that's what it was meant to be, and I think it did a good job at that. Same with
I was going to say morning dove. Shut up, please.
What did she say?
She says she votes Rey as a Skywalker because it's fun to watch people foam at the mouth over it.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because it's funny to see people get mad over Rey being a Skywalker.
That was.
No,
I don't know why. I don't understand why. I think that. I don't know. See, this is the thing. I understand when you're given something and you mess it up, and you're not given much to work with. Like, I think that if you're given like Rise of Skywalker, I think if you're given a horrible franchise, like a franchise that's ruined, there's only so much you can do to fix it without decanonizing what was before. I honestly think J.J. Abrams did the best he could, especially since he wasn't allowed to do a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
But when you get to characters, and you have potential and freedom, I think it really shows the skill of the writer, how they handle that. Because when you're given something that you have so much potential for, I think it's lazy writing. Making an antagonist do everything he does just because he's a psychopath that wants power, or you have a protagonist that is the way she is, or he is, because it's the way they are. There's no stakes, there's nothing to be earned, there's no satisfaction. It's just they're the way they are because they're the way they are, and gotta deal with it. And I don't like that. I really don't. I think, again, Rey, they could have done so much with her. They could have done so much with the characters they messed up, but it is what it is, I guess. At least we get the Mandalorian and stuff like that, because I really like... The Mandalorian is an example of how they did good character development. You like the Mandalorian before you even saw his face. Now, imagine, from a writer's perspective, the skill you have when you don't see this dude's face and you already like him. You don't see his facial expressions, but you see his personality. You see the kind of person he is because of camera angles, etc. And then when you do see his face, it's so iconic. Like, that's good writing. The antagonist, I don't know the motivations of the antagonist besides bringing back the Empire, but he was pretty cool too. I like the Death Troopers. I liked how they actually made the Death Troopers competent, because Rebels messed up the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
Like, what did they do? It was a guy with a high-pitched British accent. The most non-intimidating dude being taken out by a 16-year-old with a lightsaber. Like, what? But they made them very intimidating in The Mandalorian. Like, one of them, the Mandalorian took him out and he came back. he came back uh, after being taken out by a Mandalorian, or you had a Death Trooper that held his own against a Mandalorian. Death Troopers are really skilled. They're actually compared to Navy SEALs, and they have enhanced cybernetics. Like Death
Yeah.
Troopers are a big deal, and I think they could have spent more time expanding on Death Troopers instead of making Sith Troopers that are Red Stormtroopers.
Mm.
I think they could have done a much better job expanding on Death Troopers, because I think the Death Trooper concept is cool. I personally do.
Yeah.
I like the armor, I like their skill, etc. So, you know what I would like to see in the Star Wars genre, though, like an application of the Death Troopers, is if they really gave the Death Troopers, like if they made them clanner skill, that would be pretty cool. If they actually made the Death Troopers the elite, instead of just more health and more, higher, better morphs. I think that would be pretty cool to see. It's like a Death Troopers in Roblox that are more skilled.
Mm.
And no, Aaron, I am not trying to sleep on the Republic Commandos. The Republic Commandos are amazing. Cal Scarata is amazing. Jango Fett is amazing. And the fact that the Mandalorian validated Jango Fett's backstory made me very, very, very happy. Because Jango Fett had a really good backstory.
Mm.
He really did. Same with Cal Scarata's pretty cool backstory. But I really liked the fact that Mandalorians did train Republic Commandos. And they knew Mandalorian war songs, etc. I really like the Republic Commando series with that. So going forward, with the Criminal Underworld, what's your timeline for when the Criminal Underworld will be finished?
What do you mean by finished? Like
when
tech-wise?
everything's set up for the launch. I know you said you want to launch it at winter break, but when
I want to try. Well, the map should be finished by around the 9th.
right. All right, so August 9th. So what are
From August 9th to 14th is hopefully is when.
all right.
Launch.
So
Yeah.
ask, what is your message to people thinking of joining the Criminal Underworld?
My message is, you see all these groups that do the exact same thing over and over again. You see all these Clone Wars that are coming up. You got Alphas, Star Wars Universe. You have you got Sky River Galaxy. They're all the same in a way. They have the major factions of your Empire, your Rebels, your Clone Army, your Mandalorians, and your Separatists. You don't see many cartels around. You don't see the Criminal Underworld around. You just see the main factions, when the Criminal Underworld is a very underrated underrated genre or subgenre of Star Wars. And yeah, pretty much that. It would be fun. It's probably more fun than being a stormtrooper and just sitting around doing trainings and whatnot. Yeah.
All right, so if you want to join the Hut Cartel, that's going to be starting up soon. There's also a couple more syndicates that are going to be starting up. You got the Zan Consortium, which is a pretty cool thing. It's another thing from Legends lore that I really liked. I like the idea of the Zan Consortium. I think they had a lot of potential with the Empire War story, etc. So the Zan Consortium is building up. If you want to join it, our Tiber Zan is actually live here. It's I don't know, Kansas, I think is KAN_ZYSS is his username.
Yep.
He leads the current main Zan Consortium. Good guy, I like him. He's pretty ambitious with his plan, and he's doing a pretty good job with building and setting it up. So if you ever want to join the Zan Consortium, get an army together. Oh, I'm getting a DM. No, it's actually TiberZan_TZC. Sorry, I got the username wrong. So if you want to join a pretty fun Zan Consortium, you can join that. Also got the Exchange, which is building up in bounties and funds, and they're going to be doing a lot of stuff with resources and the plan is for them to contest the Hut Cartel like they did in lore and really build that up too. So the criminal underworld in general needs a lot of help. So if you could join these groups and support them in building up, That'd be greatly appreciated for those watching. If you have any questions, you can ask Vex or myself. I've been helping build up the criminal underworld. And
Mhm.
that's the case there. So, it's 8:32 p.m. We've been talking for a couple hours, so I might as well stop it now.
Yeah.
However, if anyone has questions for myself or Vex about anything we talked about, or anything else, now is the time to put it in the chat. If you guys have any
Any
questions. And
any last questions?
yes, Killmaster, it is the faction from Empire at War.
I
No,
do have.
Vex
Oh,
has
okay,
said
no.
sticks. No, I don't have any. Do you have them?
Oh, maybe.
All right, Vex may have some sticks. So the law, the federal law, doesn't go down on him. He will neither conform nor deny his
Maybe some
allegations.
Mandalorian ale. Yep, maybe some of that too. Yep, kill 'em.
So, all right. All right then. Well, thank you for coming, Vex. It was nice talking to you, talking about Australia and our favorite movies. It was cool talking about Marvel and DC and Star Wars with you. You seem to be a pretty good big sci-fi fan.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, nice. So we got that in common for sure. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks for listening to both of us ramble for a little bit. Next week, I'm going to be having Zelheim. He actually was in the military and dealt with an injury from there. He has a lot of experience, so it's going to be very interesting talking to him, asking about military life, combat operations, etc. He is the chieftain of Clan Bajor. And so stay tuned. I will be making the announcement of when I will be doing that live. It seems to be that Friday at 5 is not the... It can't always happen. So I'll be making the announcement for when we'll do that live. And you can DM me some suggestions. Direct message me on Discord some suggestions for people, or if you'd like to come on the podcast too. Finding people is a little more difficult than it seems, so any help is appreciated with that. And I am planning on having multiple people at once, so I may have Vex back with maybe another person, etc. So that would be interesting too. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. For those watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like to the HoloNet Broadcasting. That would be greatly helpful for supporting new episodes of the Thanar Circle and stuff like that. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, so I'm going to stop recording. Thank you.